Good evening, this is the news and in our headlines tonight. A fatal car accident on the Banjul Highway. Thanks for joining us. The National Assembly member for Sani Mentoring, Honorable Babagale Jallo, and the member for Busumbala, Honorable Sekuba Jaju, were this morning involved in a car crash on the Banjul Highway. Abdullah C reports that 5 people died and others sustained serious injuries.
The 2 National Assembly members are currently hospitalized at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital following the unfortunate head-on collision this morning. The deputies' conditions are relatively stable as doctors continue to sweat over their injuries and other bruises sustained during the accident. In the meantime, 2 of the passengers on board the crashed vehicles died instantly from the accident.
We received our first victims of the accident evacuated from the accident scene. And all in all, we have about 33 people involved in the accident. 36 of them are adult, 2 children, and 2 dead. Unfortunately, 2 died, 2 male.
Eyewitnesses say one of the 2 cars overtook the other, causing a fatal accident that has claimed 2 lives. Both cars somersaulted and the damage caused on them is beyond description.
According to the eyewitness, what they told me is Babagale was leading on fast lane. When this man Sekuba was on fast lane, Babagale was on slow lane. Then immediately Babagale went to join the driver of Babagale. Then this man came in. They collided. Then the vehicle, that of Babagale, somersaulted.
Reacting swiftly, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Gambians abroad, Usainu Dabo, visited the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital to check on the victims. He described the accident as sad and promised to send condolences to the families of the 2 victims who lost their lives. Abdullah C, GRTS.
The 61st Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights continue its deliberations in Banjul. As Seni Marena reports, state party representatives whose countries are currently under scrutiny by the commissioners have promised to improve on their human rights records.
State delegates and representatives have been submitting their human rights reports to commissioners at the ongoing 61st Ordinary Session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. Currently sitting in Banjul for the scrutiny and improvement of human rights in Africa, commissioners are currently inspecting reports from Kenya, Angola, and Rwanda. The reporting by states before the Commission serves as a forum for constructive dialogue. It enabled the Commission to monitor implementation of the African Charter and identify challenges impeding the realization of the Charter's aims. States are able to take stock of their achievements and failures in the light of the Charter. Umurunji Providence is the head of the Rwandan delegation to the Banjul meeting.
It's always a good opportunity for the government to engage with the Honorable Commission. Human rights issues is always like a study you improve every day on a daily basis. So we submit the report. We are receiving the feedback from the Honorable Commissioners.
Katrina Wanji, a state delegate from Kenya, underlined that her country is committed to the promotion and protection of human rights despite a dynamic challenge of an advanced democracy.
Kenya believes in upholding the human rights of every citizen and human dignity. If you look at our constitution that was enacted in 2012, a whole chapter debates about the rights of individuals. So it is human rights are ingrained in the constitution of Kenya.
Meanwhile, Mr. Arnold, a human rights defender with the International Commission of Jurists, decried the constant violation of human rights in the continent.
the violations in Africa keep increasing. And the African Commission, no matter its best efforts, it looks like there is a significant need for change of attitudes on the part of African governments. But otherwise, we're making progress as a continent. I've seen that there are a few governments, like the government of Egypt, that showed unnecessary hostility to the human rights defenders and to the Commission.
Cyril Aki of Article 19 International believed the slow implementation of various international and regional human rights instruments is hindering the fight against impunity.
Well, one of the issues that we have continentally is the gap between implementation and policies. That I think has been emphasized by so many other speakers, because we have very good policies, we have very good treaties that we've ratified, we have very good, domestic laws, but there's a very big gap between policy and implementation, and that is where we need to urge our governments to look critically in terms of budget allocation.
The new commissioners examined the human rights records of various states, had activity reports from its specific mechanisms, and focused particular attention on the rights of women, implementation of ACHPR decisions, its relationship with non-governmental organizations, and with the national human rights institutions. The week's activities also include the building of intersections between international humanitarian law and human rights standards. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Seni MK Marena.
The National Youth Council, in collaboration with UNICEF, Saturday began a nationwide tour aimed at sensitizing children and youth on transitional justice. SSO has the details.
The objective of the nationwide tour is to ensure children understand the concept of transitional justice and are actively taking part in the process. Officials also want the children who are directly or indirectly affected by human rights violations to openly speak out. These students of Armitage Senior Secondary School are already talking.
Some victims were well respected in their communities. Okay. So when people hear about people like that being arrested, they think something positively, but something negatively. And those negative things are the things that affect the children. Because you'll be going out in the community, they'll be pointing fingers at you, saying that his father was arrested, his mom was arrested, this what was done, this what their parents did, when that was not true. And the reasons are not known to them. You cannot blame them. So what the government is to do is to go to communities and sensitize them on what happened, why are the reasons, why are the problems done, what is the solution to it.
They are affected psychologically, mentally, because example, if they arrest your father and you as a child, how would you feel when people are saying that, hey, the government, they arrest your father? That one brings something in the society. They might tell your dad that, yeah, your dad is doing this or doing that, when it's not that. They might say other things that might bring problem between you and people within the society.
The transitional justice process and its mechanisms is expected to be a vital tool in dispelling mistrust of the system among children. The National Youth Council, in partnership with UNICEF, wants to sensitize over 1,000 youth and children by the end of the ongoing nationwide tour.
We have a fruitful workshops, and the children were able to know their rights and responsibilities. Although before starting, they did not know a knowledge of transitional justice, but thank God, during the presentations and upon completion of all, they were able to know their rights and responsibilities, and they participated very well. It was interactive, educative, and it all got well.
The issues which are actually coming up, we are recording all those issues, and also, as you know, that from every session we are selecting 2 leaders, 2 male, 2 boy and 2 girl, who are actually represent all these children. So we are we will try to get all these boys and girls who are actually volunteered almost to be with the process. We will train them we will build their capacity to give some life skills, and also, I mean, to start building, you know, their community-based kind of consultation, so that when these boys and girls who are representing all the children, they can go back, they can also take initiative to kind of do peer education with each and other.
During the respective awareness creation workshops, children are sensitized on their rights and responsibilities on the transitional justice process. They are also introduced to the significance of reconciliation mechanisms. Members of the Center for Victims of Human Rights Violation are also at hand to collect statements and register victims.
The center, we've been giving out school fees to the families that were directly affected by the former regime, and also we can stand for them when it comes to the justice system, going to court and stuff. We can represent them in cases like that. And also we've gone to the extent that we reach out to the families, and then we try to help with the healing process, because it's not easy for someone so young to lose their parents. So we as a community, we come together, we held sessions, and then it helps. It's a sort of a therapy.
Human rights campaigners say several children have been directly or indirectly affected by human rights violations over the last 2 decades. The transitional justice process is expected to be a fundamental building block in healing the deep wounds left behind by some of these alleged crimes. Esa Sow, GRTS News.
3 officers of the Gambia Armed Forces Monday bade farewell to the Chief of Defense Staff following their appointment by the President as defense attaches. The recently reinstated officers will serve in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Turkey. Kumbaba tells us more.
Hassan Sar, Sajo Fofana, and Omar Bunwai are deployed by Commander-in-Chief to serve in various missions in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Turkey to promote peace and ensure that the Gambia is adequately represented on the international scene.
We've been appointed by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow, to represent this country, the Gambia, to the Republic of Nigeria, Turkey, and Ethiopia. We are indeed grateful that we are going to be serving the Gambia Armed Services and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs under the capacity of the Defense Attache.
CDS Masane Kinte hope their appointment as diplomats will enhance the reform process in the military.
My expectation is that we are going to have, more informed opportunities and programs, for the development of the armed forces. My expectations are also that they will be able to move our cooperation agenda with those countries in terms of the military realm is concerned, from one point to the other. We have very strong relations with all these countries, that we are sending our DAs to, and it is my expectation that once you have that sort of layer, for a security layer on the defense effort, then that is going to really help, to promote, the cooperation.
CDS Kinte further stressed the importance of maintaining peace and security and renew the military's commitment to national development. The Deputy CDS, Yankuba Drame, hoped the 3 diplomats will advance the relations between the Gambia and other countries.
Appointments of defense attache to various missions as we deem it necessary in the Gambia context, I think is very timely, and I want to acknowledge your singular efforts in trying to advance this very important cause. We hope this would not be the end, but rather this is the beginning of the ending. In the sense, probably we could also have DAs in other missions across the country, specifically probably Senegal and elsewhere.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Anna Job, encouraged the diplomats to remain professional. This, according to officials, is a great achievement for the Gambia Armed Forces in capacity building and other areas for the benefit of the country as a whole. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Kumbaba.
A 4-day fisheries stakeholders consultative meeting ended Monday in Kololi. The forum, organized by the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission in collaboration with the Department of Fisheries and UNDP, was aimed at strengthening the management plan of bonga fish in the sub-region. Yolo Jallo reports.
In his closing remarks, the Principal Assistant Secretary at the Ministry of Fisheries, Manding Sedikan, said government places a high premium on the development of the fisheries sector, with special attention given to bonga fishery. He added that the bonga fish contributes a lot to food security, income generation, employment creation, and overall to the socio-economic development of the country.
I would like to thank all the development partners, including the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission, the sponsors of the Goma project, the consultant Dr. Miga Job, and all the participants for their support and input in the development and eventually the implementation of the Bonga Action Plan.
Mr. Sedikan pointed out that government recognizes the fact that bonga fish is confronted with a series of problems such as depopulation as well as inefficient management. For his part, the Principal Fisheries Officer at the Ministry of Fisheries, Ibumas Bai, assured that his ministry will continue to support the process for the mobilization of financial resources for the implementation of the action plan.
The importance of this project is to have a common management plan in the sub-region, and Gambia is part of the 6 member countries. And then we will agree to manage the resources, to regulate the fishing gears and the mesh size, because we are talking about sustainable fisheries. We want the juveniles and the sub-adults to escape so that the stock will build. Gambia, we are improving, because at the moment, as I am talking with you, night fishing operation is suspended. And then we know the benefits, because now you can only have bigger size bonga.
Other speakers include the coordinator of the Sub-Regional Fisheries Commission, Bokarba. For GRTS News, this is Yero Jallo reporting.
The Director General of the State Intelligence Service on Saturday presented 10 motorbikes to different security units in the Upper River region. Kedjetu Jallo reports.
After a 3-day tour of different security stations in Upper River region, the Director General of the State Intelligence Service, Usman Sow, said he saw the urgent need to address the officers' transport constraints.
So having done that assessment, we consulted and sought approval, and we were given the approval to go ahead to provide this. We thought this would be something we can contribute on behalf of the President. This is from all the securities, and it's for all the securities as well. They will ameliorate the situation and improve on the security environment.
The donation, DG Sow said, was part of the government's effort to maintain peace and stability. He urged the beneficiaries to make good use of the motorbikes.
The Basse Police will have one. The military will have 2, MI and administrative purposes. The fire service will have 1. The SIS will have 1. The first order security post will have 1. So we have a joint command, and they are very close. That's what we observe. So we can have 1 there, and it can be used among them. The Makamasira, it is Makamasira, where you have the PIU deployed, will have 1. Sarangai, which is covering about 86 settlements without any mobility at the moment, will have 2, and the Diabugu post will have 1. That is our proposal, and that makes it 10. We hope, as you said, the beneficiaries will make use of this.
The region's police commissioner, Famara Jallo, renewed their commitment to the region's security.
They want to know how we live here. They want to know what exactly we are doing and how are we doing it, whether it is simple, whether it is difficult. This is the role of a very good leader. I am promising the Director General and the Governor that we are going to supervise with my team, that this will be put into good use by the time you come here again, maybe you will not talk of maintenance, but you will be so happy that you are now going to look for vehicles. And I will continue to crisscross the four corners of URR.
Governor Fatou Jammeh Touré hailed the government for the gesture.
We've all along been crying. At least part of our tears are wiped. But we won't stop, because the poor man will never stop begging. Here, as far as our work is concerned, we considered ourselves poor in some areas, particularly on the side of mobility. So we are grateful to receive these 10 motorbikes, but we still continue to say we need more. Definitely, because you've gone around and you've seen the type of life that the officers are living as far as their work is concerned.
The presentation is the latest effort to boost peace and security in the Upper River region. Khadija Tujalo, reporting for GRTS News.
Meanwhile, a bike for every school-going kid in the Gambia. That is the big dream taking the check bikes for Africa across the country on a nationwide quest to support school children. HN Silva has more on that.
He is Roman Posolda, a Czech philanthropist who is visiting the Smiling Coast to change lives.
To help children in need. As I said, we know we cannot support all, but at least we touch some lives in your beautiful country. That is a great success, I think.
He has since 2013 dished out thousands of bikes to students in 66 schools in the Gambia.
Our concentration is to Region 2, from Region 2 all the way to Region 6. So from Brikama all the way to Bassa. We excluded Region 1 because we know how difficult traffic is in this area, and people are a little bit well off than to compare with the parents and the children in the Region 2 up to Region 6.
The beneficiaries are very heartened by the donation. The gift, they underscored, will bring about comfort and punctuality among students trekking kilometers to attend school.
It has great impact on the lives of the children of the school as well as the school itself, because it has improved enrollment, regularity and punctuality to school in our own area as far as the bicycle issue is concerned.
Nonetheless, they were enjoined by the project coordinator Yunus Koma to ensure proper maintenance of the bicycles.
I hope they will continue to do well and the project will serve more students in the long run. And our partnership, the maintenance is always good. These two schools are doing good in both the maintenance and the management side, and I expect them to continue in that way so that we can increase more bikes there.
The NGO also handed over bicycle spare parts and hired mechanics to ease maintenance. Etienne Silva, GRTS News.
A look now at news from outside the Gambia right after this break. Don't go away.